I just wanted to touch base with you, show you so that you understand what the software does, but show you what Missionary Connect does. So first off, we've got this pension zoom globe, so you can spin click and whatnot. There's also the film strip along the bottom, so click through these missionaries and slide through. It looks like there's no sliding because they're all filling in the gaps. The second view is your map view, so basically a 10,000 foot view of the world and where missions is basically focused on. The third view is your card view, so you've got all your missionaries in one glance, and you can click on those. Clicking on a missionary will allow you to view their name, and you could scan this QR code for their email. It'll automatically populate an email, and then you can either hit send or edit the email and send it directly to the missionary. Country data is on the right, so when you have the country data based on demographics, religious composition, people groups, and Bible translation status, that's being pulled in from the Joshua project. It's a live feed from the Joshua project, so their API access was granted to us. And as a testimony to God working in this, they do not normally do that, but when I explained to them what we're trying to do and how we're trying to share this information, they gave us the right to use their content because most of their work is done by volunteers, and we just want to encourage that and continue to encourage that. So now I'm going to click on more information. When you do, you'll see another picture. You've got testimony, prayer letters, contact info, images, video, and then there's one more, which is prayer cards. I took those down because we're making new ones. But those 6 you can name, you can change the titles of these really easily. When you biography, it just prints out the text that you add to the biography. You've got prayer letters. So of course you can, view prayer letters. Contact information prints out, automatically generates QR codes for any outbound link. So statement of faith, who we are, mission, all those things are automatically generated. Then you have images. So any images that are in the profile you can view. You can click on those and it opens up on the modal on the left. We're going to be working on some design changes on this and make it a little bit more engaging. But that's images, and then we have videos. So when you play a video, you have to keep in mind that these buttons work. So if you click on one of these buttons and go full screen, that is going to be strange because you won't be able to recover when it's YouTube. You can recover when it's Vimeo, but you can't recover when it's YouTube. So we're working on some logic for that as well. YouTube does not like you changing their data. And then there's a QR code icon, and when you click that, you have the opportunity to scan a QR code, which will allow you to put your name, an email, and a password, and then you're registered. Of course, you're going to have to be approved by the church, but you're then registered to view your missionaries on your own device. As far as getting back into the admin, it's just a little gear icon, or when you're locked out in kiosk mode, you click on the logo and that gives you PIN access. But I'll go back in the settings and show you real quickly the things that we can edit and change. So of course the logo I modified or just made it so it could be white and whatnot. And then we've got map, so we can turn different things on. We can set a pin for that lockout. We got globe, map, grid. You can turn those on and off. You can change the colors of the background to the flat map, and menu icons, and so on and so forth. Changing the text of the buttons. So if you see on this side, it says testimony and biography. Over here, when I delete that, it's just testimony. So you can make that whatever you want. Images, prayer letter, so on and so forth. You can change the size of the logo to the size that you feel is necessary, and you can also change the size of the menu on the top right corner. You can add a home button, so a little house right there, and then you can add a logo background. So if you notice, you can see through the logo, so you can't see the actual logo, but when you click that background on, you'll have that over the top of your underneath your logo, sorry. And then carousel positioning is just where that carousel, the film strip is. You can add some pixels to that. Backdrop overlay is basically how bright the globe is. and so you can change that. Opacity, and then missionary name, missionary pin marker. So if you want, a lot of churches that have a lot of missionaries, they use the pin marker, just is more effective. Having 100 names on the globe doesn't look that great, and it makes it a little bit slow. So that's an option. And then those modals, when you click on a missionary, you disable this country data if you like, and that modal would jump directly to their content. And so that's just a quick overview. Of course, the church can add a timeline, a church details, church history, and the church can also make posts, add videos, images, and create albums for the users that sign up. And to do that, you can either create an invitation, so you can create an invite, put their email in, and you can select whether you want them to be admin, staff, missionary, or member. They'll get that invite, and once they have that, once they accept that invite, they must register first, accept that invite, then you'll see requests to join up here, so people that have requested to join. Another really great feature that I added because churches wanted some insights and some analytics of, what's going on at the mission display. So we have insights, and it'll tell you average viewing time, sessions, how many clicks each missionary gets, and their consumption, so how many times they click on their prayer letter, images, biography, that kind of thing. And then total events. Right now it's just the last 7 days and me messing around with it. But we see an average time of about 2 minutes and 30 seconds and just thousands of interactions from different churches. I mentioned activate map, but let's skip down here to view. View map is where we were, where we can view the map and come back into the settings by clicking the settings button. But we have activate map, which is where you can set the pin and you can keep anybody from going back into the admin and using that gear icon. And then we have screensavers. So we have a screensaver that you can add. You can create multiple screensavers. You can add slides to the screensaver, and those slides can either be missionary slides or church slides. Church slides can be images, video, text. Missionary slides, you can pick the missionary that you want to be in the slide. So as we create a new missionary slide, we can come in here and add text and images. Any image that is in the profile for the missionary. So if you wanted to use this image, it's in their profile. And then you can also add text to that. So we could add, Ben Manley serving in Albania. So that's screensavers. Everything is, you have the ability to hide or display everything on the map. So you'll see it's hidden on the map right now. These 3 dots, you can click show on map, and that would actually activate the screensaver. And the screensaver has timeout features. So you've got different backgrounds that you could choose, and then you also have the timeout, how long the mission display runs, the globe or the map runs until the screensaver kicks in. And the way that looks, and I'll click on view map. Again, we're still in view mode, so we've got this settings icon, but we also have this little monitor that allows us to kick in the screensaver. These images will balance to the screen size, and then go from one to another. And to get out of it, you just click touch here to start. Go back into settings here, and then the last thing that I just wanted to mention to you all is your account. So if you click on account, you click on the little guy at the bottom and click account, it'll just tell you what your email is, what plan you're on, so on and so forth. So change your password here. But just a quick overview. One of the very, very last things I want to mention, though, is when you're registered at Missionary Connect, you'll have this Explore Churches feature, and you can search for any church. So say you were a member of Leicester Baptist Church and you just search for them, you can find this church, and then at the top it would say request to join this church. So let's choose one that maybe I'm not an admin of. So right here, request to join. Manage this church is super admin button, so you won't see that anywhere normally. And then that is basically it. Going back home, we just see what's been uploaded lately. So Faith Baptist Church in Shelby just signed up today. It's the 13th of April, and they already started adding missionaries, so it's great. Praise the Lord. you all have any questions, let me know. I know this is a long video, but I think that explains most everything as far as the admin and the way that it would look inside the church. There are, of course, videos for members and for missionaries as well. I won't go over that right now, but I hope that you got something out of this, and talk to you soon.